Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you the process that I use to make a European deer mount with OxiClean, dish soap, and a power washer. And so I got this buck a couple days ago during firearm season. I think it's nice enough to do something with. So what I've done is I've skinned it, removed the lower jaw, and as much meat as possible. And I gave it the first boil here, and that's where we're at now. You're going to use the rope. You're going to make it so the skull sits upright, so the whole skull is underwater without having the antlers boiling. So it's been cooking for about an hour here. It's not a boil that I'm using, it's just a simmer. You don't want it to be too hot for any of this, or else you can go and damage the skull. So in a few minutes here, I'm going to be taking this thing out of the water and I'm going to bring it down to the local car wash. They got a power washer you can use down there for pretty cheap. And since I don't actually have a power washer, it's the next best way to do it. So I think the most important part of this whole process is to never go and boil it too hot. When you do, what happens is the actual bone material itself, it'll get porous. And if you keep boiling it more, eventually the antlers will even fall off. So you want to do just a minimum amount here. So, it's time to go head down to the car wash. Gonna grab my rubber boots, some glasses, and we're gonna go clean this thing up. So we're gonna head down to the car wash here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go and blow all the brains out of it. We're gonna go and get as much membrane off this thing as we can. And then we're gonna bring it home, and we're gonna boil it one more time. And then we're gonna start using some tools to go and clean it up real good. It's a multi-step process here, but the results are pretty good. So I'll see you at the car wash. Alright, and we're back. So after the first boil and one round of power washing, we got some big progress here. Most of the membrane is off and a lot of it's down to the bone. There's most of the cartilage remaining on here still. Most of the brains got blown out, but there's still some inner membrane on there. So now it's time for one more boil, and then we're going to get the tools out and start really cleaning this thing up. Alright, so we got the antlers tied back up so it sits flat. Now we're going to top the water off so it's just right. Water covering the whole skull. So we're starting the second boil here. Now we're going to add our first ingredient. Some dish soap. What this is going to do is it's going to start breaking the grease down. It's not bleaching it yet. Once we use the OxiClean, that's when it's going to start turning the whole thing white. Alright guys, so it's been simmering for about an hour here. I'm letting that dish soap pull some of the grease out of it. And this is what we got. So now it's time to take it over to the sink, wash it off, and start pulling some of the cartilage off. What you're really waiting for is for this cartilage right here in the nasal cavity to separate itself from the bone. This used to be flush right here, but you can see now it's starting to peel back. Alright, so this is where we're at. The next step here is we're going to be cleaning this cartilage out next to the antlers. We're going to be cleaning up the nasal cavity. We're going to pull all of this out. This cartilage goes all the way up to about in here. So there's a pretty big chunk, and for that we're going to be using some different tools. We're going to be using one of these. This will get pretty far up in there. That basically can cover all of it. And we're going to be using some knives. Extra flashlight and another light. So when you're getting inside the nose here, everything inside there can go. Some of it's like some crunchy cartilage. You just take pliers and pull it right out. Everything in there goes. Alright, so after some time here, we got the base of the antlers cleaned up. Most of the cartilage off the skull and the nasal cavity is pretty much cleaned out. So now we're just going to go and repeat the boiling process with dish soap once again. So you want to have enough dish soap in here so that the water smells like soap. It's a good indicator that you got enough in it. And you can't have too much. So now that most of the cartilage is out of here, so we're going to start drying this thing out. Pulling all the oils and grease out of it. It's kind of the whole point of what you're doing here is we're trying to get all the oil and grease out of the bone. Any pockets inside the skull that oil can be holding. So we're just going to let this simmer for about an hour. And then we're going to come check back up on it. Alright, so it's been another hour here. This is what we got. It's starting to look pretty clean. Now the next step is we're bringing it back to the car wash and we're going to spray it down again. And after that, the final step is going to be we're going to bleach it with OxiClean. So we're starting to get somewhere here. Alright, so the next step here is we're knocking out the ear canals. See them right here? What you can do is you can go and stick a tool or anything you got that'll fit in here and just go and pull them straight down. This whole thing is going to pop right out. And then right here, we're going to knock this out too. So all that these parts do right here is they go and hold extra oil and grease in them. This is a very important part that you want to get these things out. So you got this one here as an example of what we're doing here. Ear canal is still attached to this. We're about to bump it out. And it's going to end up looking like this. There's a lot of oil and grease that gets held up in there. That's what we're trying to get out. Alright, we're on the next step here. So after getting the ear channel cleared out, now we're going to wrap the horns up. For this I just use a layer of saran wrap on the base, and then I top it off with a layer of duct tape. We want the base of the horns wrapped up basically as far up as they're going to be in the water. Because the next step here is we're adding OxiClean to it. This OxiClean is going to go and bleach all the bones. So even if you got the nice tan color on here, it will be bleached if you don't have it wrapped up properly. So make sure you get it wrapped up. Alright, this OxiClean is super strong, so you do want to watch it during this process, but we're going to let it go for about an hour here, simmering on a pretty high heat. Not a boil, just a simmer. And this is going to be pulling all the grease out of it very fast. Alright guys, so it's been simmering in the OxiClean for about an hour. You can see how strong this OxiClean is. Like all the fats have floated up to the top. It just pulls the fat right out. So now I'm going to go and pull it out of here and wash it off. Alright, here it is, the final product. Turned out pretty good. Might as well take a minute and show off this buck I got a couple years ago. This thing is freaking massive. So I believe this is a 3-year-old buck, and this is a 4 or 5-year-old buck. Just the girth on the horns, can't even compare them. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you guys want to see more videos on making European mounts, I'd recommend the Whitebone Creation YouTube channel. You guys got a lot of good information on there. Alright, see you next time.